Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust, Christian, own, nothing control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 700 and what are we like 759. Trust Deal Room. Appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening to replay. Trust Christian here, coming at you guys again. Thank you everybody that's a long time listener and everybody that's new. This is episode here, Trust Deal Room here. We're gonna be talking about today what it's like to be inside of a. A lot of people are not familiar with the entity, but they are aware of it, and so some people hear about it, or they say, "Oh, I gotta get one," and they say, "Oh, I gotta be in a trust. I gotta have a trust." Okay, great. Well, what happens when you're inside of a deal room? Some people may not understand what that term means, but some people do. Our audience is pretty experienced, so they understand what a deal room is or the sorts of it. And so we're going to elaborate on this episode how it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to go ahead and tell y'all. So many trustees, they come in trustee training and they say, "Oh man, Trust Christian, I wanted it to be easy." And then they say, "Oh, the next thing is, man, it's so much to learn. It's so much, all this information." And what's interesting enough, you got a trustee in right now, knows more than one language. That's an advantage, ladies and gentlemen. Why? It shows they know multiple linguistic formats. Okay? Does that mean they're gonna be good at the business? No. Doesn't necessarily mean that. Okay? Trustees in training. We're just giving y'all background so you can understand achievements in this particular profile of this individual so you can understand how they come to it second week. Oh man, it's so much information. They definitely weren't enamored. Incredible. We get to a place where 4 weeks in now, this trustee, "You know what I'm noticing, Trust Christian?" "What's that, trustee?" "Well, a lot of the information is starting to repeat itself." Exactly. When you get in trusteeship, you understand it properly, a lot of the information is going to repeat itself because there's only a few things you can do to mess it up, and that's that. Otherwise, you're supposed to be out there creating, building, preserving. A lot of the times preserving even can get boring. No one wants to hear that part. We're going to go into the trustee deal room where that trustee understands that once you understand the language of a deal room, you pretty much are repeating the same things over and over. It's very See, this is where people they thought wealth was going to be glamorous. They thought wealth was going to be sexy. They thought this was going to be the Trust Christian. I'm gonna be riding roller coasters. What are you talking about? I'm gonna be out here riding down the streets telling everybody I got $100 million. Really? So we know if that's not the case. Let's talk about it. Trust deal room. Here we go. Trust Christian can tell you for sure. If you are a trustee, what position are you in the deal room? And from there, that'll tell you everything. A lot of the trustees that come through training sometimes, 75% of them, they run in a deal room first. They're the first trustee. They learn about trusteeship and first trusteeship. So they're going to be the first trustee of their first deal room. Okay, great. Some trustees will say, "Oh, what is a deal room? Why do I gotta know what a deal room is? Or what's a deal room in the respect to do I have to have a deal room, Trust Christian? What is a deal room?" Okay, so a deal room is where you guys are even trying to say you're putting property in the trust. Is it not a contract? Is it not a negotiation? Or is it not a deal? So trustees may say, "Oh man, Trust Christian, is it sophisticated? Is it hard? Is it challenging?" Well, a minute. For that trust to acquire property, that's what a deal room looks like. It could be more detailed. Description of the property, filings for the property, filing numbers for the property. Those things may be included in from the party that is leaving to the party that is going to. So superficially, a lot of trustees are they're like, "Oh, Trust Christian, I got some property. I want to put it in a trust." Okay, that's your first deal room. But a lot of people they get messed up because they don't really know what it's like to negotiate. You know, you ain't not negotiating when you putting assets inside of the trust. You're just doing your job as a trustee. That's not a negotiation. Clearly, if you just taking assets and putting them in a trust, but at the same time, when we talk about a deal room, the deal room gets expanded past those simple transactions because that's a transaction. It's a deal. And so when we go into like the more sophisticated deal rooms, Trust Christian in the vault, we could just tell you all it's time to butter up, pucker up, like go ahead and get your business mindset ready to be sharp as a razor. A lot of people don't know that, but we see just being around other sharp competitors or sharp players that you gotta be sharp. You gotta be sharper than your sword. You gotta be prepared to be the best trustee, to be mentally agile, to make decisions on the fly as a senior trustee in a deal room. For example, say you are, as a trustee, a part of a transaction where you guys are acquiring somebody's company or you guys are acquiring somebody's property. Now it's not just you putting assets in the trust, it's you going out and doing a transaction with someone else that they're doing that transaction with the trust and you're a trustee. So are you the only party involved? No, you're not. So we're just going to break it down. The deal room, because the deal room is a multi-component situation. It's actually like look at it as a sports franchise. So a sports franchise has the owner, so you would be the first trustee. Then in that situation, they're going to have a legal team, a financial team. They're going to have everything down. Y'all know what you have in a sports franchise. People that clean the place. They're going to get sponsors. All these different things. That's a deal room. Who else are you getting to sit at the table besides your lawyers, your accountants? Who are you getting to sit at the table? Okay, well, we got a counterparty that wants to come sit at the table. So what does that look like? Does that look like uh, you dealing with? See, a lot of people are just used to bills. They're not used to negotiations. You hear the difference? Some people think a deal room is, oh, we got an invoice, so we have to pay it. No, a deal room can be another party sitting at the table with their accountant, and there's information being shared back and forth privately, and there's an actual negotiation going on. That is a more formalized deal room where it's a private negotiation going on, whether that's through the phone, whether that's through an email, whatever it is definitely a deal room. So when people say, "Oh man, I wonder what the deal room looks like," we're giving you actual word pictures so you can visualize these things and say, "Okay, when I walk into these rooms, these deal rooms, you actually know what to have. You know to have the legal. You know to have the accountant. You have them there with you. You don't even go in the room if you don't have them there with you. A lot of people don't want to hear that. Like, oh, Trust Christian, you hopping on the line by yourself. Rarely, rarely in the deal room do you hop in, especially coming from your side as a counterparty in the deal room. You're not hopping in the deal room by yourself. You're not going into a room by yourself. You're not engaging in transactions and things by yourself as a trustee. Some people could say it depends on how senior and experienced you are. For the most part, you're not just gonna go and do things by yourself as a trustee. A lot of people not used to hearing stuff like that. So but it's like, yeah, we gotta break trustees in slowly. We don't tell them, oh, you gotta have an assistant, or you need to have your CFO or the trust there every single time, or you gotta have a senior accountant or a senior lawyer there with you when you're dealing with the bank. Why? Just so you can have a level of second record. So when anything happens, you actually have a second record saying that there was business going on or the intent to do business and things didn't go well or things did go well. That is what is stated. So when it comes down to a lot of it comes down to understanding, okay, there's formats to things. The deal room has formats. Now, some people in more sophisticated circles would say the deal room literally is just all online. It's just uploading all the documentation. It's uploading uh, everything. Now, on the private sector, you wouldn't be uploading trust stuff to the internet. See how we talking? If it's private, it wouldn't be uploaded onto the internet. So once again, that's where you have private conversations. You share information privately, maybe through the traditional mail or something of that sort. Is you're doing private correspondences, and that's still a negotiation. That's how things happen in the private every single day. We just gonna go ahead and share it with trustees. When you in the deal room, ladies and gentlemen, sure, we shared the format, the paperwork. You're gonna have to have some people. You're gonna have to have some people sit in the room with you at all times. It's no negotiation there. Uh, it's interesting. We were around some people recently, and they understand that there's a deal room you, and then there's a real life you, like a real you. You're not trustee. You're just you. You're not protecting the estate. That's you. But if it's not you, the regular you, and you gotta go into a deal room, then the switch of the person that comes on is deal room you. And deal room you, to a lot of people, is not. They are fully aware it's not their normal self. Okay, great. But did you embrace the deal room you? The one that's a little bit more eager, excited to close transactions. What people say, to do big business. Oh man, I'm gonna be in the private sector. I'm looking to do big business. I'm gonna be in the public sector. I'm gonna do big business. Hey, do big business. We can talk about doing big business. That's exciting. But we also doing big business, right? Right. That means the transactions are closing. See, and it's about execution, closing transactions. See, it's this is gonna come down to, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we, Trust Christian always gonna do this for his heirs, because we understand the game that's being played here. So at the end of the day, we're just gonna go ahead and tell you. All right, you gotta go ahead and make it a point to be a creative solution giver. And what happens is, you find out, okay, I started. Yeah, you started trusteeship. You got started. Like they all say, I got started. Yeah. And the next one in line, the second place person, he gonna say, I didn't quit. Yeah. But then there's one more. And he's in it to win it. She's in it to win it. They're this one word that the other ones aren't. And that's persistent. And when you're persistent, you're going to come up and you're going to find solutions to build or preserve the assets or to close deals. Now, this might be a hard whiff for people to swallow. Oh, Trust Christian, do you got to be a genius? You got to be a genius. You didn't hear what we said. You got to be persistent. You got to be persevering, but more persistent. And that means coming up with solutions, because you understand that you're there to close. So there is no no in your mind. You're not walking away until all no's are exhausted. And what happens is, even if it's not your own doubt, oh man, these guys, they said it wouldn't close, so it's not going to close. Ultimately, it comes down to your persistence and giving solutions. And this might be a pill for people to swallow in a deal room. Oh, Trust Christian, I don't get exactly what you mean. I'm trying to make it a point to get what you're saying. Okay. So, people out here like, oh, Trust Christian, I'm going to do real estate business. I'm gonna do this business, I'm gonna do that business. It's a business. It's not a hobby. It's a business. Formalizing it. We're talking about formalizing a business. There's ways to grow internally and externally. Most people don't know the difference. And when people go through trustee training, they get that training. They get that training of, okay, well, how do I take a business from ground zero to hero or whatever it is? And we have trustees that quit their job all the time if they had a part-time business and they wanted to go full-time. Sometimes it's like, oh, is it a confidence thing? It's not always a confidence thing. It's a lot of times they just understand, okay, I'm going to tidy up and just be the entrepreneur that I know that I am on the inside. So once they become that entrepreneur and they truly step in that light, they are in the deal room every single day. They are making a deal with themselves. Okay, I got to get up. I got to go out and create sales so I can feed my family. This is what they know. They know they have to get up and they have to sell something. Well, we want to make sure that they have a deal room in place. Why? Because if you're going to grow the company, the deal sizes are going to change. So you have to be able to craft deals, your deal, the deals, and deals in a manner that work out for you just as well as going to work out for other parties. So that it requires thinking. It's not just, oh yeah, Trust Christian, I'm just gonna see. We're gonna see. There is no we're gonna see. It is a legitimate. You are making it a point to what's actually called plan. But what's wild is entrepreneurs know they plan and they still fail. Or the plan doesn't work, or it doesn't happen exactly in time. And then they're sitting there like, well, I made a plan, it didn't work, but I got close. I made a plan, I got close. I made a plan, I got closer. And then some people, the ones that they quit, they didn't have a plan. They quit their plan. See, the mentor's plan is persist. Failure is not an option. Now some people don't understand what the word means, so that's why failure is an option. But when you understand, okay, we're going persistent route here now. Yeah, persistent is you don't take no for an answer. And some people may say, oh, Trust Christian, hey, what are you talking about? Hey, that sounds pretty extreme. You sound like a wild guy. You know, look, we're just going to say we sat on a line today with someone that they've managed company. It's $1 billion company. That's just the facts. Okay, great. So we actually asked him the inverse, not about getting don't take no for an answer. We're asking him sophisticated questions. When do you have to tell people no? When you have a hard no? When do you have to tell people a hard no? And that's in the deal room. Because see, people don't want to hear. We've been in the deal room. And in the deal room, we didn't say no, but somebody said no. So when you're in the deal room, do you know, okay, yeah, we got to say no. Do you have a hard no? So we asked them, when do you have a hard no? How do you double down the confirmation of your hard no? Do you look at it once? Do you look at it twice? Is your heart, but you got to remember, this is where there's some pre-deal room work that you may or may not be aware of. But there is pre-deal room work. Some people don't understand that, but yes, for sure, there's some prior due diligence, some easy buy box criteria, some easy due diligence criteria. You always are going through DD. Everything you do is DD. It's due diligence. Everything is due diligence. The deal room is still due diligence. All we're doing is going through the parsing through the details and coming up with an agreement. It's a deal room. The deal room is parsing through data. It may be more, people classify it more as a composite of the data, but it's just not a composite of the data. It's if you're in the circle, if you're in the lingo, when we're saying, oh yeah, the deal room involves all of your team having access to the data. People say, "Oh yeah, trust Christian." Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is a good one. Huh. Here we go. People don't even know. Oh, trust Christian. I got a deal. I got this real estate. I got this. I got that. Okay. Did you take it to the bank? Do you have a relationship with a financial institution? Do you have a relationship with a financial institution? Did you do you, that's that alone changes it all right there. Oh yeah, trust Christian. I don't know what you're exactly saying. Of course, I have a bank account. Of course, you have a bank account. We're talking about, do you have a relationship with a financial institution where they're looking at your deals in conjunction with you, where they have access to the deals. So when you have deals come across your table, you literally don't eat, because you're looking for financing from a financial relationship. You literally just send them the deal. You do have to do some pre-deal room work. You may do a criteria. They told you, hey, these are the type of deals we like, and these are the criteria, and you're out there doing your thing. Okay, the deal comes through. Okay, do you have a financial relationship waiting in the wings that's saying, okay, whenever you have great deals come through on this level, then send them over to us? Of course. Of course. You're supposed to have a financial relationship with someone, and that's just, oh man, trust Christian. Is it really supposed to be like that? You don't even want to know. Of course it is. Some people say, oh man, trust Christian. I know a few financial relationships. I know a few athletes. Some of the athletes will say, oh, I know a few rich people. I know a few. Okay. Huh. When y'all come to our sector, it's a lifestyle now. You can't just know a few. Just like you're your family's richest person, you're your family's icon and hero now. Yeah. Are those people that to you? Because if they're that to you, they're going to stay that. But if you expand your financial network, now you have a peer group, a group of families, a group of people that you know that have financial means, that we can do what, whether I want to hear the word, it's called a syndication. So when you have multiple families, multiple people come together and invest together, they call it a syndication. So what's wrong with you having a huge financial network, not just 3 or 4 people? Oh yeah, I know 3 or 4 or 5 6 7 8 9 10 rich guys. Like, okay, that's two hands. What happens if 8 of them say no? Oh man, you only needed one. We agree with you, but when you need certain things going on, would you agree it's better to have more relationships than less? Unless you want to bank on those ones and twos, great. Once again, are you looking to these people to be your sole source, or are they just a source? And this is where the marketplace happens to be at right now, where do we understand what a deal room looks like? Are we working on improving our deal rooms? Like critical type of details, like when you come to our sector for sure, or you're in the sector, you're gonna see for sure. It's like, oh man, Christian, trust Christian. I gotta build out a team. You gotta build out a team. You gotta have some type of online network. You gotta have an online, yeah. You gotta have an online network. An online network. What? An online network? An online network. That's what you gotta have. An online network, so you can share information. That might cost you. It may not cost you. If you get certain people on your team and they have the technology, they can share it with you. Now you have a team member that brings more than just, oh, their skill set. They actually bring in tangible value. So that's a deposit into the deal room. Okay, we have an asset base previously. Why? We have a processor and a process that can actually process data, because that's what it's processing, data. The deal room is data. And some people say, oh, you could do deals through AI or technology. Of course you can. Of course you can. A lot of people are going to end up doing deal rooms through AI at one point for sure. A lot of deal rooms will be organized through AI tools. So sure, they already are being organized that way. But to stick to not just going into AI discussion, everybody likes hearing that type of word. The trust deal room in this particular case is definitely just that. Just think of it as that. Think of it that way. Okay, Trust Christian. The deal room. Do I have a deal room? Am I in a deal room? It's so small. People don't want to hear that they're in a deal room every single day. Oh, Trust Christian, I don't want to be in the deal room. That's all they're saying. That's all they're saying. Because if they wanted to be in a deal room, they would understand that it comes with some structure, it comes with organization, it comes with sitting still, it comes with planning out the schedule, it comes with planning and putting the task on paper, it comes with executing the task on paper, it comes with persistence when it comes to things. It comes with you having to do not just get financial things, a skill, like money. It's actually down to you actually having a skill, which the skill is being able to critically think. And we were talking about this with like we know some well-off people. I mean, so it ain't like they some, oh man, he got $100,000 saved up. Like, nah, ain't none of that $100,000 saved up stuff. So if somebody says to you, oh yeah, Trust Christian, this is the way you should be moving out here with certain type of deals. That's the way we move. We don't not move that way. We move that way. There's very tangible thought process and understanding. When you're sitting around a wealthy person who says, oh yeah, a skill set that you want to have is just a critical thing. And you're sitting there like, wow, that's all you got to say is the skill set? That's what's made you millions? Hundreds of millions? That's what's got you managing $100 million portfolio right now? Maybe even bigger. We know he was a big one. It was a private equity individual we think about that said this to us. Oh yeah. Yeah, Trust Christian, you gotta have a skill set of, what's that? Of critical thinking. Really? Yep. Like, man, this guy literally is sitting there for 2 to 5 hours out of a day, just sitting there thinking about solutions to a financial problem. Literally just sitting there for an hour or two reading a deal. How many people are willing to sit there and read a deal for an hour? They might think like, oh, Trust Christian, there's no way you're reading for that long. No one's reading for an hour. You're not reading for an hour. Like, what are you talking about? Yes, trustees are studying for hours. Some people say, oh man, Trust Christian, it's going to be extreme forever. No, what we're saying is there's data at periods of time. The deal room, the room itself, when you're some people, if you understand, a deal room is just a task room. It's a room of, okay, we got to check off all these different tasks. So if a deal room is just full of tasks, then just check off the task. But some people don't look at a deal room as a task. This is just a huge room of information about property or a transaction. Really more transaction. And when we talk about the tasks that need to be accomplished in order to close the transaction, those things are on a timeline within the details being in the deal room. So it's important to make sure you focused on getting the data. Focused on making sure you want to structure things. You want to organize things. Sometimes people don't understand that perspective. They come outside looking in, and where do they share with you? Inside looking out. Man, we just tell trustees, honestly, you should just go ahead and focus on being a good trustee, and you'll know how to navigate a deal room, promise you. If you focus on being a great trustee, if you focus on staying within the lines, focused on, okay, what does a great trustee do? Are they organized? What's their best practices? How are they handling the family estate? Or how are they handling the trust in general? What are they reading? What are they studying? How often are they studying? The mentors would always say success leaves clues. Trust Christian Revolt. See, if some people say, oh man, if the easiest way to stay trust deal room ready is by reading a deal every day. Reading over some type of transaction every day, reading over a court case every day. Isn't a court case a transaction? Then reading over a court case every day, reading over a court case, reading over a transaction. You think about how long is it going to take you to read over a court case. Some people don't want to hear that. Oh, Trust Christian, yeah, you might be a slow reader. I'm a slow reader, Trust Christian in the vault. That's about it. But everybody else, if you feel like you're not a slow reader and you can read fast, we all would be up to speed, have very fluid conversations, because y'all would be aware, or a lot of people would be aware, that the cases are pretty much, once again, repeating in that sector. So once you hear one case and you hear the reasoning for that case and then you hear the reasoning for the next case, you know, okay, well, clearly this is all about the same thing, but it's just in a different case. Okay, great. I'm not going to go read that case, but you may read that case and may read it faster. You just say, oh man, I know, now I see, bam, bam, bam. It comes out a little bit easier. As long as it comes out a little bit clearer, like, okay, great. I see the correlation from one case to the next case based off of the accusation. You start putting a lot of correlations together. But think about it. Even in trusteeship, especially in private trusteeship, if you only needed to know less than 20 cases, y'all still don't understand that. Like, oh, Trust Christian, there's no way I only need to know less than 20 cases. Ladies and gentlemen, we can name the top 5 cases on one hand. The other 15 are just basically talking about the first 5. Why? Because it's only 2 things you can do wrong in the first place. Most people don't want to hear that. Oh, it's got to be 3 million things. No. 2 things in the private sector that's going to get you screwed. In the public sector, we would like to just go ahead and say we're not going to argue against public disclosures in, because in the public sector, that's the it's just the sector, man. You just got to be comfortable with the sector. The public sector is not the private sector, but the public sector is about disclosure. Bottom line. So, appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tune in live, listen to replay. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Trust Deal Room, episode 759. This episode, like I say, was just really just wanting to go over trustees. Don't think as a trust deal room as some big massive thing. Oh, you gotta have these huge deals. No, everything's a deal. Every day's a deal. So then they say, oh, Trust Christian, now you help me get over the fact that I feel some type of way every day. Because you are in the bubble. If you're first generation wealth, there may be a lot of times where you feel like you're having to do a lot of deals, or you want to do a lot more deals. You would do less deals if you weren't a first generation trustee. Maybe. So when you think about these things, the trust deal room, that's something that you may have to learn how to put together. It may be something you could learn from being with someone else that's already in trust. Once again, the trust deal room comes with a mindset. It comes with an emotional set. For sure. It's very bubbly. Not in a good way either. We're talking about like how you feel like you may be in a bubble because you're very focused on closing the transaction. You're very focused on the deal. And there's trustees that are listening to this and they're like, yeah, Trust Christian, I needed to hear that. I'm feeling some type of way. I'm in the deal room and I feel some type of way. Of course, you're in the deal room and you feel some type of way. Okay. You're supposed to feel some type of way. You're in the deal room. That's not your normal self. Your normal, you would like to think, oh yeah, I'll take my normal self in the deal room. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna share with y'all. Nah, if you go talk to any player that actually does deals and makes things happen, there's a business person and then there's a regular you. And for that reason, you want to separate those people because they are separate. A regular you is not a dealer. It's just a regular you. But the deal room you, we want to go ahead and say whatever traits you know, like, oh man, Trust Christian, I think I'm a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that, and I feel it, but sometimes I hold back. Exactly. Go ahead and lean into it and go ahead and map out that character so you can best perform in the deal room as whoever role or whatever position you're playing. If you're playing a trustee, so you can be the best trustee, because the trustee is a steward. The steward is not just a relaxed person. We're not saying they're not relaxed. What we're saying is they have a responsibility for someone else. There's a difference. Is there a trustee for a beneficiary? And so when you're in the deal room, we would just go ahead and say, go ahead and step up to the plate. Be aware, hey, man, I gotta go ahead and be in the deal room right now. Gotta take care of what I gotta take care of. Of course you gotta take care of it. Of course you do. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening to replay. If you guys want to get a consultation, feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. This is the Trust Deal Room. Some of these episodes might be advanced for people. We got 700 episodes, so you got a bunch of episodes just to scroll through, find a title that tickles your fancy, a title that says, "Hey, I enjoy hearing this content," and keep it moving because many people have many reasons why they tune into the content, and this is one of those ones where there are people, trustees we talked to recently, that are in the deal room, and sometimes they don't understand that the way they feel when they're thinking is different. Even though they know it, they don't really understand it. They're like, man, I'm feeling some type of way. Okay, you got to go ahead and focus and lean into the deal room you. There's a deal room you. And maybe some other people don't know who that is, but you got to know who that is for sure. Do you know who the deal room you is? How many people know who the deal room themselves is? And once they find it out, they find out, okay, I'm not the same person. Exactly. And then we had a trustee come on the line, and in 4 weeks, oh yeah, a person is a corporation. An individual is a person. A person is a trust. Exactly. The deal room. Are you aware of the words that are being used sitting around you when you're in the deal room? It could get a little grisly in there, for sure. Especially if people are using terms you're not aware of. Even in the bank, when you go to the bank, it's a deal room. The trust deal room's right there at the bank. Oh, I'm having a hard time at the bank, Trust Christian. Yeah, exactly. Because you're not big boy trustee yet. You're not focused on being a trustee that can go into the deal room and turn that switch on for yourself. You got to become the deal room trustee. You say you supposed to be, oh, I'm going to be a steward of the family wealth. Then it's an easy thing going ahead and dealing with a financial institution. Why? Because you're building financial relationships as a trustee of the trust. That's just how it goes. So what difference does it make if it's a formal institution or a private family or a private individual or whoever it is? It doesn't matter. It's you just building a relationship. But oh no, I ran into this roadblock. Yeah, because you didn't cut on your trustee thinking cap. You didn't cut on your trustee business mentality. It's business. It's not personal. And it's nothing personal about these situations. When you in a trust deal room, it's nothing personal about it. We want to go in here and see, here we go. Oh, Trust Christian, talk to me about it. Yes, we've been in a trust deal room, and it's gotten personal. The mentors have shared stories with us. They shared the downsides. They share with us, yes, there's downsides. But they also share that it can get personal. And the wildest part is our mentors taught us never get personal. So when you've been trained properly, the best part about it is it never got personal with us. So we always kind of thought, well, what happened with the situation? And when you come to find out, when you know, because you were sitting there in the meeting, you were sitting there in the deal room, and you saw it get emotional. Oh, we need this data provided. Nah, we're not giving it. What do you mean? You're clean, right? The numbers are clean, right? Everything's transactions clean, right? Right. Let's keep it clean. Provide this information. People get hostile when they're speaking in the deal room. It's like, oh man, come on, man. This is the place we want to be the nicest right now, quote unquote. Some people say, oh man, Trust Christian. We understand. Sometimes it can get a little heated in the deal room. Why? Because it gets personal sometimes. Here we go. Oh, a trustee, a family estate's passing down some property. The family sit in the room when oh man, X, Y, and Z passed away, and now we gotta divvy up the property. Yeah, we didn't come to an agreement. That's the deal room that you're addressing. That's the deal room right then and there. Hey, how do we divide the family estate up? Or how do we claim it properly? It's a deal room. Do you want to deal or do you not want to deal? I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with being an heir and having to do my proper heirship claiming and all that good stuff. Are you going to be a part of the deal room? What role do you play in the deal room? And always being clear and playing that role. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. We definitely had some episodes lined up for you all. when it comes down to making some episodes about what we're talking about here. The trust deal room is one of those easy ones where just a lot of people really wanted to hear about, talk to us about the private side and how sophisticated it is, how itchy it is. Itchy meaning what makes it is not a cakewalk. We're sharing with you. You got to be the word persistent. If you're not persistent, then you can't expect results. There's no body. Yeah, if you feel like you're gonna get the results because of that, then great. But ladies and gentlemen, for the rest of you all, when y'all do run into that situation, because we know trustees that are running into that situation, whether that's anything that we talked about, the banks, financial relationships, whatever it is, there's a persistence and there's coming to a solution because of course trustees run into, oh man, I ran into a roadblock one time. What the mentor told us, mentor said, trust Christian, what y'all think is a mountain, it's a speed bump to me. What y'all think is a mountain is a speed bump, and what you don't want, he says, what you don't understand is right now hereforth everything is really just a speed bump for you. But if you don't look at it as that, you gonna take it as a mountain, and then you ain't gonna be able to see the other side. That type of stuff. And we would just sit there and hear the mentors and know, like, okay, sure, like mountains are meant to be climbed too, or mountains can be climbed. So, some people did encounter the mountain, and they was like, we ain't climbing this mountain. And then there's some people that get the speed bumps, and they still mess themselves up. So, we're here to just say, hey, if you have a certain type of mentality that you need for the deal room, because we see what it takes is different mentalities in the deal room. It's not one. We're not just going to sit here and say it's one type of personality in a deal room, but there's definitely they understand whoever's in the deal room consistently. Whoever's in the deal room understands that they're getting deals done. They understand there's a mentality when they go in. They going in with an agenda. They going in with a mindset, and that's just the way it is. It's to not take no for an answer. Bottom line. Christian at trustchristian.com. That's the email you can reach out. Christian at trustchristian.com. We look forward to hearing from you all. Peace and joy.